you been? You been taking a little comedy hiatus, huh?
Man, taking a hiatus, baby. You know what
What
I'm
do you
saying?
think
But
when
go
you
ahead.
come back? Is there a room you're dying to do that you haven't done in a while? Like, is there
Yo,
one that you?
actually, when I come back, I'm going straight to McCurdy's in Sarasota, which is one of my favorite comedy clubs. Somebody had a fallout, and I took it 4th of July weekend with my dumb ass, which because I'm always like, I'm not taking
You don't like holiday
any.
weekends?
I hate, and you know I don't. But
Hate it.
30 days away from comedy, I'm like, yeah, I can do it.
Now with Juneteenth, are you gonna not take Juneteenth weekends off from now on? Are you gonna wait? Like my whole thing is, it takes
Bro,
3 years for a holiday to be a
hey,
real
my
holiday
brother.
for me. But if I get
Hey,
the
you
day
know
off of
what, bro?
work, it's 100% real holiday.
Hey, my brother, ain't no way that the white man is gonna have me working on Juneteenth, my brother, unless they paying me double time and a half. Then my black ass will be there
I
fighting
mean,
for my
Ken,
right.
the whole thing was about getting paid for work. So I mean, if they're paying you, it should be kosher, you know?
Yeah. I don't do kosher, baby. I'm a gangster.
Don't blame
I
the
like
Jews
I,
again, man. We got enough problems. Don't put it
Hey
on
guys,
I
the
who
was
you
waiting
Jews.
just
on
hear on the
Jeff.
mic?
I was waiting on
Who
Jeff.
you just hear down the mic right there
I don't want to hear
is the
no
man
Hebrew.
himself.
I don't want to hear no Yiddish. It was like Will Smith talking Oy Gavold. Stop it, man. Don't blame us for your problems.
Boy, man.
Old Jeff's like, here it goes
It's always
again.
every 50 years it comes back to the Jews, man.
Jeff Kaufman, comic book writer, lawyer at Kaufman and Lynn, stand-up comedian. Jeff, you just came back. You were at Spooky Empire. Was it last weekend?
Yeah, this weekend, man.
This weekend that just passed at Spooky. Was there anybody? And you don't have to name names, but was there anybody that you saw that you were like, damn, like how the mighty have fallen? Because for those of you who don't know what Spooky Empire is, it's a convention for horror movies, a lot like
It
a
is.
comic book convention. But the thing is, just like all these conventions, they'll bring somebody in who played character 6 in the background of an episode of this. And as Jeff has said before, sometimes these people forget that the world has forgotten about them, and they kind of want you to still treat them like they're some kind of royalty. But was there anybody you saw?
A-list people.
Yeah,
Here's
that you
my
were
thing.
like,
I'm not going to get judgy. I only get judgy when you treat me badly. I've been doing comic books for a long time. I know these actors. That's how they make their money. They sell the photos of them when they were 2 and they're 80 now. You know, I get it, and I fully support that. There are a lot of wrestlers, a lot of B actors, a lot of A actors. You never know. I just can't handle when one of these guys loses their mind over their place and everything else, and they can't. And they're so used to being treated like gods, and you're not that anymore, man. You're working in the back room. Nobody bought your photos early. You know, be nice to people, and people will buy from you. But
like, excuse me, but I played Gangster 2 in Candyman in the bathroom scene, and I will not be hold on real quick. Thank you for calling Amazon customer service. This is Gary. And it never came. Can you send me a picture? Okay, hold on real quick. You will watch your mouth when you talk to me, Kaufman, or I will stand on your grave and pee on the heads. Hold on real quick. Yes, ma'am. It does come with free service. Pee on the tombstone, Kaufman. Pee on the tombstone.
Yeah.
Stupid.
I was a walk-on on Candyman. They didn't even have a role for me, and they said him. He can play bathroom thug
Put
4.
him in. Put him in. Yes.
James Yon in the studio with us today. James Yon, the host of The Lowdown on Afro. At one time, James Yon had like 36 jobs, but now my man is just a television host and a stand-up comedian. But you still have no free time left, do you, James?
I don't.
And you don't even have kids living in the house anymore.
I do. Okay, this is a weird thing. I actually have 2 TV shows, a radio show, and still do stand-up comedy. A lot of jobs still. Love them all. My kids, we moved them out during my birthday weekend, Cinco de Mayo.
Did you let them know, or they just wake up outside in their bed?
No, they knew it was coming. Here's the funny part. Kids pay rent at their new place, but they will not move from my house until we move, which is happening in July, because they want to mooch off free dinner and washing and laundry and all that stuff. So they're
just staying at your house while they have a house?
While they have a house, yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Bougie ass kids, man.
I
2 houses?
Sure do.
Houses? And you got 4 boys too, man. So and then how many of their like girlfriends and stuff are living with them too, or is it just the boys?
Their girlfriends are here a lot because they come to a house where the parents still cook and supply the house with snacks. So they're like, this place is like heaven. Like this place is great.
They just eat fruit by the foot. Like, you know what, Mr. Yon?
Yeah.
I like coming over here, adjusting your AC. Hey,
yes,
what's something that a guest has done at your house? One of your kids' friends that blew your mind. That you were like, no. I'll tell you this much. My homeboy walked in our house one time in front of my mother and adjusted the AC. And I was like, I don't even touch that. Like, I'm not even allowed on that.
Yo, I think one of them went in my room.
He just went in.
Oh,
Yeah, went in my room.
Just walked on in. Hey, Michelle, I'm gonna use this pooper because it looks like it's nicer.
Yeah,
I
you
lost.
can't use
I
the
lost.
bathrooms.
I lost track of reality for 5 minutes. I
Oh,
came
yeah.
back and stuff had happened. It was like Moon Knight. Yeah.
I remember one time, man, my homeboy was sitting in the living room. We were probably like 15 years old, and he straight up in front of my mom and everybody was like, "Oh, go outside, smoke a cigarette." I was like, "What the fuck?
What the hell?
Dog, we just go stay outside. We ain't allowed to hang no more. We ain't allowed to hang no more." One time, I tell you guys, we had this tree behind my house where I lived in this apartment. There was this tree where everybody would hang out. And literally one day I'm watching X-Files. I'm probably like 14 years old, watching X-Files with my mom, my whole family. I look outside, I see this tree. Every one of my homeboys that my mom knows is outside smoking a blunt at this tree. And I'm just staring forward like, oh God. What? And my mom looks outside. She's like, what are they doing? And I was like, I don't know, mama. They're bad.
no.
I don't even know
They're
what you
bad.
call that. I don't even know what that is right
Yeah,
now.
I'm just like, why would you?
But yo,
pick
straight
that
up
tree?
though, it smells delicious, don't it?
Yeah, I'm gonna go outside, mama, right now, and I'm gonna straighten them out. But when I come back, if you can have like a sandwich ready for me, because when I yell at people and
Put some
straighten
chips
them
on the
out,
sandwich, too. Put some
yeah, I
chips
get
on
real
it.
hungry and my I get dry mouth,
My blood
and
sugar.
then I just want to hang out in my room and eat Star Crunches. Because when I get authoritative, it drops my sugar levels.
Dude,
Hey guys, that new voice you're hearing right now, that is Mr. AJ Francis. Now, those of you who don't know who my homeboy AJ Francis is, shame on you. But just to inform you, AJ Francis, former NFL player, WWE wrestler, rapper, also the current SCW Sausage Castle Wrestling champion. My man got his master's degree too, so don't talk to him about economics. He'll school you. AJ Francis, good friend of mine. We've toured together. We've hung out together. We've been friends for about 6 years. He's one of the dudes that I would tell you this. Yeah. Hey, man, we've had intimate moments where we decided never to talk again. We tried something, guys. We didn't like it. Okay, we didn't like it. And I'm gonna tell you this: it wasn't what you thought. I was Big Spoon. I was Big Spoon.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I
AJ was the
don't
sport.
know how you could be Big Spoon with him.
Yeah.
You're
was
still
weird.
like one of those little gibbon monkeys on his back.
I had to use a protractor.
You know when you put your silverware together in the bin and like the big spoon is in the little spoon slot and you can tell it doesn't really work, but you just leave it there. Yeah, that's kind of what we're going with.
Got it.
Yeah. But we're talking sex. All right, guys.
All righty.
Now, man, AJ Francis, though, great friend of mine. Like I said, we've been on tour together. We've done everything. AJ is currently the Sausage Castle Wrestling champion, and it's Sausage Castle Wrestling at Mike Busey's Sausage Castle is a different kind of wrestling because it's heavy on big dramatic storylines, wild stunts. All the things that people say, oh, you can't do that in wrestling. And it's kind of bringing back the old school vibe of like backyard wrestling, but with high production value. And AJ Francis, yeah, a lot of chicks, a lot of girls, a lot of fun storylines. And AJ is the current Sausage Castle Wrestling champion. But I wanted to bring him on the show because we're all wrestling fans here. We're all hip hop fans, and most of us are sports fans. And AJ, you've done them all. When I say sports, I don't want to take wrestling out of sports, but wrestling to me is sports theater. You know, it is sports theater. It's something more than that. It's like old school Shakespearean theater.
Yeah,
it's not easy. So I wanted you guys to have a chance, man. This is basically an Ask Me Anything. We got AJ Francis here. If there's a deep, dark, dirty secret of the game you want to know, let me know. Let AJ know. And I'm going to start out with one right now. AJ, how many times when you got into the WWE did people want to write you into a storyline box that wasn't you? Because AJ is very athletic. He's a flyer. He's a big dude who's a flyer. He jumps and
but
leaps.
He can move.
Yeah.
But were they trying to make you something that you weren't because they wanted to sell that? And did you have to fight back, or were they receptive to who you wanted to be?
So I spent the entire first year just hand feeding them what I was already capable of. As you know, we had The Row at SCW before I left, and The Row was just a knockoff of Death Row. It was a wrestling faction that was based around a hip hop record label, and my character's name was Sugar Bear, aka Suge Knight, who I kind of favor, as you can see.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you
So-
the truth. 7 or 8 years ago, if AJ would have been like, "Hey, I want to be a Suge Knight character," I'd be like, "You know, we're not
Out of
doing
your
that.
mind.
You crazy."
You're out of
And
your
now I'm
mind.
like, "You can say you Suge Knight. You can say I'm Suge Knight. I like to eat
No.
poop sandwiches. I ain't scared of you no more, Suge."
Yeah, so
I'm officially still scared of Suge Knight. That Jeff
Smart
Kaufman,
man.
You should
it,
be.
you know,
You
I
should
don't
be.
screw with
That's-
waitresses
that's
or
why-
Suge Knight. I respect
That's
you.
why the character.
I don't
works,
screw with
because
waitresses or Suge Knight.
there's a lot of people who like they base their character off somebody who's like a real life person or a movie character or something, and that character itself isn't really intimidating. Suge Knight is, right?
Man.
So
Bro.
it works perfectly. So, but the thing is there's no coincidence that we had the row in SCW, and when I got into WWE, our crew was called Hit Row, right?
Mhm.
There's no difference. Like I wrote the theme song, just like I wrote the theme song when I was in the row. I wrote a lot of the promos that we did. Like I did everything just like it was in the row. So like I got to do pretty much what I wanted to do, but it took about a year of them seeing me do it behind the scenes before they're like, okay, we're gonna let you do it on TV. And mind you, it did help that I got that TV gig, WWE's Most Wanted Treasures. Once that put me on TV, they were like, well, we gotta use
Nice.
this guy now, you know.
And what you
So-
guys don't know about AJ, and I'm gonna say this, and he knows this, I say this to his face. AJ's a bully. And not in the worst, not in a bad way, but AJ's a bully. When we were shooting the WWE Treasure Show at the house, AJ put us in contact with the producer, and the producer was like, "Okay, these are what we need from you. This is this." And Mike Busey was at Mike Busey Sausage Castle. Mike was like, "Well, I kind of would like them to focus on this more and blah blah blah." And the producer's like, "I don't know it." And AJ's like, "Yo, don't worry, just do what you want. I'm gonna tell him." And then we're like, "I don't think so." The production said they're not gonna do. He goes, yeah. Don't just tell me what you want to do. Tell me. And then we literally got on a call with them, and she was like, "I'm sorry, I don't think we're gonna be able to do that." And then it was a conference call. AJ's like, let me talk to him real quick. And no lie, we called him back, and they're like, "Your demands have been met."
Because look, man, like the thing about that show is that like it looks like a lot of that show was put together by a lot of people, but what you actually saw on screen was me. Like I was the person that was able to get every person. Like I was the person that when we were in a room with a collector that had to get the lines out from the people that we needed to get, because it's not scripted, but there's obviously things that they want people to
Information
say,
you
right?
got to get out. Yeah.
Exactly. So like that was my job on camera, and I'm very good at that. So like if you want me to do that on camera, you got to work with me and how I'm going to get it across. So I leaned on people a little bit, and we got what we needed out of the scene.
There you
AJ,
go.
I'm gonna tell you, we're gonna go to commercial just a second, but I want to talk more about AJ and get what he wants, because many times at the Sausage Castle or something, when AJ proposes something, I am sent in to see how much ground we can keep, because we know we're gonna lose some to AJ. So I am sent in to do meetings with AJ, and they're like, "Just don't lose everything." And I'm like, and it's funny just because you got this 9-foot tall dude and my short fat ass, and I'm like, "Hey AJ,
Listen, bro.
what are we doing?"
Yeah.
We're coming to commercial.
What are
We'll be
we
right
doing?
back. We'll be right back with more Real Laughs on Real Radio 104.1. Real Laughs on Real Radio 104.1. I am your host for the evening, Miguel Colon Jr., joined up with my comedy cohorts, Mr. Ken Miller, James Yawn, Jeff
Yep.
Kaufman, and today we got special guests from the WWE, from the NFL. We've got Mr. AJ Francis in studio. Frank. Now, guys, like I said, AJ, bully. I've watched him bully. I've watched it, but never like a mean, I'm going to take whatever I want. But AJ's firm, and he stands tall on what he believes in. And I've seen AJ grow, and I've seen so much that he's done, and I've watched it. But when we worked together on the WWE show that he was doing, it was funny because I got to see AJ in his environment as a star, and I was super impressed, and I watched it. But there was also this like real punk California crew working it, and to watch AJ bully these guys around was beautiful.
Okay,
Like I
so
just
good.
loved it, because some of these dudes, they're like mixing and doing sound, and AJ's just coming over. I think it should be a little louder here, and they're like, "What?" And they're just looking at this giant. They're like, "Just make it louder." Jesus Christ, he will eat us.
I'm hungry.
Yeah,
That's
man.
funny.
But guys, is there
man,
anything
here's-
you've
here's
wanted to
the
know
thing,
about
man.
the
Here's the-
WWE? That's something
Well-
you've always thought about?
when-
Mr.
when I
Kaufman, what do you
get
got?
done,
Jeff
so-
Kaufman,
when I-
AJ
Well-
Francis.
Yeah, I got
What?
one. I got one because you know I was a sports agent for a little bit, and
Mhm.
you know they talk about money and no money and things like that, and I remember used to go in as an agent. Now, how many agents did you know? You go, oh yeah, he's coming. We're gonna get this, and this. I mean, there was like 50 agents in a row who would hit different weekends. And how did that? You went to the University of Maryland without discussing anything. I mean, they're agents sneaking through the hallways of the dorm rooms and stuff like that.
You know what's funny is that like I actually only had 3 agents really interested in me because I kind of got screwed over by by the coach change. I was on Mel Kiper's draft board to be drafted after my redshirt sophomore year, and like the dumbest idiot in the world, I decided to go back to school. Like the University of Maryland was going anywhere, right? So I went back to school, and then they changed the coach, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, new coach change will be a better team. I'll get more notoriety. Wrong. We were not better. We were not better. We were much worse, and it killed my draft stock. So I ended up only having 3 agent meetings, but I had met with a guy named Ron Johnson, who was a great agent that I used out of Connecticut, and he gave me everything that I asked for, which is I literally said, bro, I just want to get trained at the best place in Bomeritos down in South Florida. If you put me up there for 3 months and pay for my training for 3 months, I was like, I'll sign with you today. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, I need a rental car while I'm there. And then the rest of that is I don't need no spending money, and I know how to take care of my stuff. I was like, and he provided all that, and then
Nice.
we were able to do good business. Once I got to the NFL, I was in the NFL for 6 years, so he definitely got his money back and then some. So
God bless, man. Nice.
Yeah, my question though, man, I'm the internet Wikipedia guy, so I'm always looking up stuff for the show. What for you? What you feel like was harder to break into, the NFL or wrestling?
Great question.
Definitely the NFL. You got to understand. Well, first the NFL came first, so like once you play in the NFL, if you want to get a tryout at WWE, you just got to ask, and you gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? Like you just got to know the right person to ask, but they want pro athletes in the NFL and WWE. They're going to sign independent wrestlers from all over the world that make a name for themselves. But what they really want is pro athletes, because pro athletes can do things that other people can't do. For example, I'm 365 pounds and I can do a nip up. I can do a second rope moonsault. There's people that are 205 pounds.
Can't do that. No.
You know what I'm saying? So like they are cruiserweights in the WWE and they can't do those things. So like I'm a special type of athlete. Like there's a lot. WWE is focusing more on going towards that special type of athlete because, to be honest, if you can walk and chew bubblegum at the same time, you can be a professional wrestler as long as you can keep your cool under pressure.
Gotcha.
Ooh.
Now
AJ, I played a little high school football, so I get all this athlete stuff you're talking about.
That's true. Yeah.
Like I'm just thinking back, I'm like, woo, JV.
I got you.
Woo, what a competitive environment.
You talk about working under pressure. I'm married to a Latina, so bro,
I've been there. I used to be married to a Latina.
Yeah, I got this, bro.
Then I lost half my stuff.
There you go. There you go.
Like you lost it, like she took it or she stole it.
The fire, right?
He's like, yes, Ken.
Well,
He's talking organs.
I think she stole it because she ain't do nothing to get it. So I think she stole it.
Hey man, I got another question. I'm from North Carolina, so I grew up with WCW, early NWA days.
Wrestling.
I'm from the South, so I say wrestling. So, if as a wrestler, what was your favorite era? Because for me, it would be the late
Attitude
80s, not the Attitude era. No, late 80s, 90s, the Four Horsemen, like the Four Horsemen era. That's probably my favorite era. What would be your favorite era of wrestling?
Well, I grew up in the early to late 90s watching wrestling. That's when I first started watching wrestling. So I would say the Attitude Era because you got stars like The Rock, like Stone Cold, like Triple H, like HBK, like Bret Hart, like, you know what I'm saying? Like the list goes on and on and on. So like, yes, I mean, growing up, because I was such a wrestling fan, like I watched all the kids, listen to this one. I watched all the VHSs of NWA from the 80s, right? So like, I seen those the 80s and 70s NWA and AWA and Florida Championship Wrestling and you know the old school Dusty Rhodes, baby. And like
There you go.
The
American
American
dream,
dream.
baby.
the American dream, man.
The American dream.
His
Dusty
belly
Rhodes.
just a little bit too big. His height just a little bit too big. But
Yeah.
he's everything that you need, right? So
Bro,
like,
he was amazing.
I grew up in the 90s, so I would definitely say the Attitude Era.
Okay,
But honestly, like, to be completely honest with you, and people get mad when I say this, but it's the truth. If we're talking about the level of athleticism and like entertainment aspect, and like, there's nothing like present day. Like, the present day is so much
Yeah.
better than
It's the
it
same
was
as
back in
NBA
the day.
basketball.
Exactly. It's the
Yeah.
same thing. It's like it's so much better today, but it just doesn't get the notoriety that it
Yeah,
does.
yeah, and I
It's
agree with
not-
you because NBA basketball is the same way. Like nobody's doing what LeBron and Steph and them are doing
No.
in the
Bro,
80s.
Steph's a
Steph-
freak of nature.
Steph and
It's not
LeBron would
happening.
Bro.
average 80 in the
It's
70s.
just not happening.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
It would be
100% agree with you.
Steph Curry versus the Boston Celtics in 1980. And if they wore those short shorts, their junk would hang out now because it's got to be
Yeah.
bigger now. It's
Yeah,
got. There's no way those boys had big junk back in the day. I don't know how Dr. J scored so many girls. His shorts came so short, there was nothing to hide, and I didn't see no bulges.
They wore
think,
cups,
they
man,
were-
back then too, man. They were.
the
Yeah.
jockstrap era. The
jockstrap.
The jockstrap, Eric.
Hey, I got a question. There was
Yeah, Jeff.
I was reading something, and I just want to make sure I'm getting this right. 2015, you're playing for the Dolphins, and you sign up to become an Uber driver.
Yes, that's a factual statement. So what happened was, see, I was broke my whole life until I got to the NFL.
Came from the bottom.
A year before I made my first $1 million, I had a negative account balance, right? So,
So
when
I'm
I got
halfway
to the
there.
NFL yeah, you're almost there.
I'm almost
So-
there.
Bro.
Following in AJ's footsteps. Negative account balance. Gotcha.
So I spent a lot of time my rookie year just trying to stack money up that I was making because I was starting from nothing, right?
Mhm.
And then my second year, I was doing the same thing. So what a lot of people don't know is when you're in the NFL, you get paid per game, right? So in the off season, you're getting like per diem. It's like $1,200 a week, which is not a lot of money. It's not bad money, but it ain't nothing to write home
Yeah.
about, right?
No.
So what would happen was in the off season, I could either spend all the money that I made during the regular season, or I could work. And especially OTAs, you're done every day at like noon. So I could
Mhm.
just go home and like smoke and play video games from noon to midnight, or you know what I'm saying, or I could go out and make some money. You know what I'm saying? So like, I decided to become an Uber driver. What I didn't expect is for everyone to give a damn. And,
They
right?
cared.
And it went viral. It went super viral, and I was a joke on the Tonight Show. And I got in trouble for that on with the Dolphins because the Dolphins said the joke was because I played D-line, and the joke was, AJ Francis of the Miami Dolphins signed up to be an Uber driver today, which is cool because it's the first time all year that the Dolphins have drove more than 10 yards, right?
Ooh, that's a good one, bro. As the guy that writes monologue jokes, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So
That's a good
like,
one.
I play defense, so I don't give a damn that they're making fun of the offense.
Yeah.
But the offense was pissed.
Mm.
AJ, you basically were just saying, I'm gonna make money when I want to make money. I don't want to not work. And that
Yeah.
was that, like, you think about it, that's the role model thing that everyone's always trying to tell people to do. Like, don't be humble, be this. And the minute you do it, they're like, yo, my man's driving Uber, he's whack. He's whack.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, he's
I
playing
wonder-
for the NFL next year again because he's signed, but right now he's whack. I'm better than him.
totally whack.
I'm better than him.
Hey, real quick, man, before we go, I just wanted to give you some your flowers while you're here, AJ. I just want to point out the fact you were in college, man, went to the NFL, and the top 5% of college players ever make it into the NFL. And at the same
Yeah.
time, brother, you made that accomplishment. Congratulations. You got a master's degree, bro.
Yeah.
A master's degree. You are not a dummy by any stretch of
AJ,
imagination.
you know what it
I
reminds
can
me of?
read and do numbers and all that
And
stuff.
all that stuff, bro. So I
Just like
wanted-
every other Uber driver, he has a master's. He was somewhere big. He's like an immigrant Uber driver. He's like, I played professional soccer in my country,
Yeah.
and I have a doctorate in photon
doctorate.
science. Hey, Kamij, just take me to goddamn Walmart, okay? Thank you for the water bottle. Put the AC on. Put the AC on. You know?
and yes, it does smell nice in here.
Yes. I think the incense in your car is a nice touch. You know.
Thank you. Nah, man. You're just a dude that's accomplished a lot, man. So I salute you, brother. I love what you're doing. Keep
Appreciate
doing
you,
it.
man.
Now we're going a little
I got
backwards.
lot- I
Now
got
we're going a little
lot more to
backwards on
accomplish.
this, but AJ, we always want to know, like Ken says, we're all big comic book nerds. Can you give us your origin story? What made AJ Francis decide he was going to be in the NFL?
I didn't want to be broke.
Amen. Amen.
I grew up my whole life. Everybody around me living check to check, like,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't want that for myself. So I decided to dream big, and I accomplished everything that I ever thought I would. And even though nobody believed in me but me, I believed in me. So that's all that matters.
That's right, brother. Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. And I just want to say this too. I ain't scared of Suge Knight. I whoop
Wow.
Suge Knight. I whoop
What is
Suge
wrong
Knight
with you?
ass right now.
Wow.
Oh, by the way,
bigger
hold
than
up,
you.
hold
Are you
up. By the
crazy?
way, I just want y'all to know, this is P. Diddy saying this. I whoop Suge Knight ass if he want it.
This is P. Diddy.
Diddy, baby.
Can't stop. Won't stop.
AJ, you're in the music industry. You're in
Yeah.
the NFL. You're in the WWE. What's
Wrestling.
the shadiest of all those industries?
Ooh, man, wrestling's really shady. But I
Yeah?
would have to, yeah, for sure, because it's all about like the boys in the back being good. You know, they're protecting who they know. It's not a coincidence that it took 50 years before there was a black WWE champion. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Damn.
That's always my favorite. I'm like, so no
there's
black
not- it's
dude
not
was
a-
better than anybody at
It's
wrestling?
not- look at it exactly. Look at AEW right now. Like they still don't have a black heavyweight champion. All their heavyweight champions have been white dudes with brown hair. Like there's nothing
Mhm.
wrong with that, but it's just the truth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's
Mm.
every single wrestling company is ran the same way. But at the same exact time, the music industry is super shady because
Yeah.
at least in the music industry, people don't pretend that you're talented when they sign you to a. I mean, sorry, in the wrestling industry, people don't pretend that you're talented. Everyone's just like, okay, that's the boss's guy. It's all right. But
And
like,
they just know. They just know.
in
Yeah.
wrestling, it's like, I mean, in music, guys are like, oh man, like this guy's so good. I love his music. You should hear it more. And everyone's listening is like, you ever see that episode of South Park when it's like just farts and shit
Yeah.
going? I'm sorry, going through people's ears. You know what I'm saying? The whole time it's like oh, this doesn't sound good at all. But you know, the masses
guys.
are telling me it's good.
We got to go to commercial. When we get back from commercial, AJ, I want the dirt. I want to hear some stories about the WWE and the NFL that would spin people's heads if they knew. You're listening to
Okay.
Real Laughs on Real Radio 104.1. Back to Real Laughs on Real Radio 104.1. I am your host, Miguel Colon Jr., joined in virtual studio with Ken Miller, James Yon, Jeff Kaufman, and of course today, telling us about the NFL, secrets of the WWE, Mr. AJ Francis. And AJ, before the break, I said, I want the dirt, man. I want the dirt. I want to
I got a
know the
question.
things about the NFL and the WWE that the regular everyman doesn't know that would spin their head. You got some for us,
Okay.
AJ?
I got one about the NFL for you for sure. Ready?
Ooh.
Every person that you know that gets in trouble for failing a drug test for like marijuana or like really any party drug at all,
Mhm.
that guy's dumb. And here's why that guy's dumb. You know the dates that you're going to be tested. And I don't mean the actual date that you will be tested, but you are guaranteed to be tested from usually like April 18th, whenever the OTA sessions start, until the first week of training camp, which is usually like the first week in August, right? Like, so like between the middle of April and the first week in August, you know for a fact that you will get drug tested for street drugs. And if you just don't fail that test,
You good.
you can do whatever the hell you want the whole rest of the year, right?
Oh.
Because it's only one test as long as you don't fail. Once you fail, then you start getting tested multiple times a week for a couple of years, right? But if you don't fail that one test, right, you just don't have to worry about it for the rest of the year. So
Oh.
if let's say you like to partake in a little bit of God's green grass, right?
Mhm.
Or
Mhm.
you know, if you're a crazy party guy and you grew up in your dad's an 80s man and he showed you how to grow up like an 80s man and you want to do all types of
Little Columbia
Sugar
go-go
butter.
powder.
yeah,
Sugar
whatever
butter.
you want to do there, you know. If you do those things, right? If you stop, like for example, marijuana gets out of your system in 3 weeks, and you have the party drugs that we were just talking about get out of your system in 3 days, right?
Unfair.
So,
3
like-
days. 2-3 days.
So if you just stop doing them, let's say with the God's green lettuce, if you just stop 3 weeks to 4 weeks before April 18th, and you stop everything else the weekend before April 18th, and just don't do it again until you get tested, which is what 95% of the guys in the NFL do, because
There you go.
they're just not trying to ruin their money, right? If you just don't if you don't fail that first test, after you pass that first test, you can do whatever the hell you want, whenever the hell you want, for the rest of the calendar year until the
Wow.
following April. But the problem is, guys can't stop. And they say weed's not addictive, but somebody lying, because these guys, they can't stop for 2-3 weeks in order for it to get out of their system, so that when they get their test,
They fail.
everything's good. They fail, man. It's sad to see. It's sad to see, but a lot of
AJ,
people
do
can't
guys?
stop
Is it still like the '80s? Do guys get messed up before a game? Like, do guys just because you hear the stories of the '80s where dudes is like, I'm gonna do this rail right before I walk out the locker room.
I never seen nobody do like hardcore party drugs before the game, but I know there are guys that smoke before the game because they just feel looser before the game
Yeah.
when they smoke. I know guys that, like, for example, you got guys that are in the NFL where, like, you got 53-man active roster, but only 43 guys can dress on game day. There's 10 guys that just are on the active roster, but they don't get to dress because they're not going to play. A lot of those guys are standing on the sideline. If you watch, they got sunglasses on, and that's for a reason. You know what I'm saying?
They just
Okay.
wandered off. They wander off, go to the other team. They're like, hey, Ray, remember when we was in high school? I know you're on the other team. Remember when we was in high school together? How your mama?
Your mom's
I walk back.
Yeah.
I walk back. Ref. My bad.
No. It's cool. They like me to walk across the
Yeah.
field. It's fine.
You want to do a bump?
Yeah.
No, ain't nobody looking at us, bro. We number 50. Ain't nobody looking at us. You trying to do a bump or what? Amber
Trying to
heard
get
it. Wipe your face. Wipe your
You
face.
try to get wet?
Yeah.
You try to get
I got
wet?
some octopus tranquilizers. These things will put you to Mars.
Sure.
Yo,
You want to get wet?
dude said octopus.
Bro, you can only get these in one town in Korea. Woo.
Yeah,
Ooh,
so
baby, I
that's
feel
a,
good.
that's a nice little secret from the NFL, is that a lot of times, there's a lot of guys that, smoke before games because, it just makes them loose. It makes you gotta, when you're out there, whatever makes you comfortable is what
You do
So
it.
Reggie Bush was just messing up. Like
What
when
do you
when he
mean?
was when they were talking about him smoking at all. Was he
I thought he got in trouble because he was taking money in college. Which is
Oh, that's what it's college
No,
money.
no,
Which,
he
that's
was-
the
he
other
was
thing.
in trouble
Yeah,
in
my
college.
bad. Yeah,
Ricky
He was
Ricky
out of
Williams.
college when that
And you
blew
know
up
what?
2 years later.
Ricky Williams is a
Ricky
perfect
Williams is
example.
who I was thinking of. Ricky
Yes.
Williams, yeah.
Ricky
Yeah.
Williams was public enemy number one. He was the worst person in the world because he smoked and all these other things. And then now, Ricky Williams, you look back and you look at Ricky Williams now, and people look at him in a completely different light,
Yeah.
And it's crazy to see how things can change societally that quick. Because I was watching Ricky Williams grow before I got to the NFL, and it ain't been that long since Ricky Williams. It's been less than probably 15 years since Ricky Williams was out of the NFL. So it's not that long of a turnaround.
Now
No,
let me ask
not
you
at
this:
all.
we've all heard the rumors, and I know Jeff knows about this too. But are there like fixers in the NFL? Like, you messed up. This guy's gonna take care of it and make it go away.
No.
Okay.
Oh,
They're
you
called
mean like?
publishers. They're
I
called
thought you meant
publishers.
like fixing games. I was like,
No. He's talking about
No.
when you get in trouble, that the administration shows up and says to this young lady, "Hey, if you like what's going in this hand, I'll put."
I
it
mean,
in
I
that."
would be inclined to say no because nobody ever helped me do nothing, mainly because I never needed anything. But at the same time, just look at the current Deshaun Watson
Ooh.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
case. They had that. They was getting that man NDAs and getting them hotel rooms and like I ain't never had to get an NDA, but I
Yeah.
also didn't know that was an available option.
He's like, a lot of things would have changed if I could
was
have been
never
like,
making
hey,
enough money that an NDA came into place.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like, gentlemen, I see that you may have got your jaws broken by AJ Francis in a bar brawl, and I want you to fill this police report out in your new Cadillac DeVilles. You got two of them, boys. Hey, AJ's a good guy, right? Let's forget this.
Hey, you guys want to get wet?
Yeah. You want some octopus tranquilizers? I got them from Kyungdao, Korea. You put one drop under your tongue, one drop on your nipple, then one drop on your foreskin. And bro, you will wake up 6 days later with a fantasy that you lived for 15 years. I had a wife and kids. I woke up, I was like, where's my son? They were like, you were on tranquilizers.
You want to get wet?
Yeah, you trying to get wild with some octopus tranks? Now, AJ, what is I'm gonna ask, man. And Ken, you might remember back in the old days, we used to always hear the dirty secrets of like when they dogpile you. Some people got safety pins and they're pinning people, or people would put Crisco on their jerseys so that you would slide. What AJ? What's real, man? What's really going on in the NFL?
I mean, nothing's off limits in the dog pile. I mean, if you go ahead and look, just Google it. Just Google it. Randy Starks, Pittsburgh Steelers, Miami Dolphins. We played a game in the snow. I was on the Dolphins. The offensive lineman, Randy Starks, had the ball. He recovered a fumble, and the offensive lineman took his whole hand and injected it into Randy's hindquarters, right? And was digging around, right? And you can see it.
You came back out with a new watch.
You can see it clearly on film. And here's the craziest part to me, and this is when I knew that the NFL really didn't give a damn about its players. They fined that man for doing this. They fined that offensive lineman $10,000. They fined people $20,000 for the wrong socks.
Damn. That's money coming out of their pockets. There's a difference.
Yeah, wrong.
They don't lose any money when.
But if you could wear the same NFL socks, and it's just not the ones you're supposed to wear with this jersey, and they'll fine you $20,000. But if you put your whole hand in a man's ass, it's only $10,000.
Bro, we call that the.
Yeah. Now, here, Yana, let me ask you a question. Did he ask for it? Do we know this? I mean, you saw what he was wearing. You saw what he was wearing, right? Am I the only one?
My client really asked him,
yeah.
Did you want to get wet?
Yeah. Was he on octopus tranquilizers? Because that'll change a man's whole opinion. He might have thought he was a doctor birthing a baby. These things are great. I'm on them right now. Are we really in court? Are we really in court?
You watch the video. He put his whole hand right in that man's
Did he
ass.
smell it after?
No.
You know it wasn't his first time doing it.
Oh, you're right, Jeff. He knows how to do this.
He knows how to. He's like a doctor. He put on the glove first.
Put the hands together like a duck.
The whole fist
get him in.
Yeah.
Like it's a little Logan and then Wolverine. You know. Now, AJ, you are currently
man. He had
AJ, you are currently the SEW Sausage Castle Wrestling Champion, a new wrestling league that we've had for a couple of years, but we're really taking it serious now that you've got a hold of it again. We're changing the storylines and making some of the most dramatic storylines and having some badass fun out there. But AJ, as the SEW champion, you've got a match coming up, a pretty big deal. Tell them what's going on.
So July 3rd, Hitsville, USA, we're going to have a great show. We're going to have a battle royal that's going to be filled with wrestlers and social media influencers. Nice. There's going to be a lot. You guys know the guy, his name's Dane. He does the Southern Dad jokes on TikTok. Yeah, so as of right now, we're talking about him coming down to the castle and doing some commentary for the show. We got a bunch of other wrestling social media influencers that'll be part of the show. And then we got a tag match. It's the Hitmakers, me and my crew, Tahuti Miles and Brianna Brandy, taking on Chris Bay of Impact of the Bullet Club and Leon Ruffin, who I had run-ins with in NXT when we were in WWE, as well as Josiah Williams, who is a manager per se. He's going to be part of it as well. He was in WWE with us when we were there too. And then we also have a women's death match. It's going to be two women literally they're going to try to do all the craziest shit you've ever seen in your life. I'm telling you now, I've seen them fight before. I've seen them fight before in a death match. They hold no punches. We're going to have a new deathmatch title. I personally think this is the coolest looking title in the world, but the new deathmatch title is going to look pretty cool too. It's going to be pretty dope. And the women on that show, man, like Sawyer Rack, Colin King, they are two of the biggest badasses I've ever met in my life, man, woman, or child. They are bad asses, and I am looking forward to those two ladies tearing the house down because, you know, women. One thing that I appreciate about Mike and I appreciate about the Sausage Castle in general when we do these shows is the fact that women don't get a lot of opportunities in independent wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's usually like one women's match, and then every other woman is just like a manager, right? Like, Mike wants to have women on the show. Like, Mike actively is like, yo, we need more girls on the show. And I'm like, cool, I'll make that happen. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Nice.
there's a lot
Giving
of independent wrestling promoters that are not like that they don't give a damn if there's a single women's match.
And at SCW, they promote a lot of intergender wrestling too.
Yeah,
like-
we do a lot of. And I was supposed to wrestle Sawyer Wreck for the SCW title, but her car broke down. So like that was in the past. That was 2 years ago, but that's the truth. So like we do everything at SCW, man, and it's, you know, it's a real cool environment, and the production value is number one. Of all the places I've ever been, I've wrestled everywhere, man. Other than WWE, there's nobody with better production value than SCW. So it's going to be a great show. It'll be at the Castle. You can go to MikeBusey.com/wrestling to get tickets. And it's going to be a great show. It's going to be a good party too. It's going to be a great time. That whole festivity of those 2 days, the 3rd and 4th, you know, Miguel's gonna be there too, and he's gonna probably have no shirt on. I'm probably gonna get Miguel in the Battle Royal just to come out as
I'm gonna whoop one of them girls' asses.
Shirtless
I'm
Puerto
not.
Rican.
They're athletes, and I'm not. Hey guys, we got to end this show, but thank you so much. We got AJ Francis, SCW champion. You can check him out. AJ, social media, give it to him. What can they check you out on?
Check me out at all social media at AJ Francis 410. Once again, that is AJ Francis 410.
That's what's up, man. On behalf of myself, Jeff Kaufman, Ken Miller, James Yawn, Mike Hurley, he who couldn't be here, we want to thank you guys for tuning in to Real Laughs on Real Radio 104.1. We love you guys. Peace.
You trying to get wet?